Hey guys, Geekopedia here. Welcome back for another video today, and I've got something special for you because I just got done watching the canceled animated Popeye movie that Sony Pictures Animation was working on starting around 2013 before it was finally canceled in 2016. It would have been directed and production would have been led by Genndy Tartakovsky, and you might know that name from, he was the main director behind Hotel Transylvania. He was the creator of shows like Dexter's Laboratory, Primal, and my personal favorite of his, Samurai Jack. When it comes to animation, Genndy Tartakovsky is a giant when it comes to animation. He knows what he's doing. He loves animation, and you can just see that in everything that he works on. He pours nothing but his heart and soul into his projects. So, I remember back when I first heard there was going to be a Popeye movie by Genndy Tartakovsky, and I remember getting so excited and hoping to get to see it because growing up, I was a fan of Popeye. I'm not that much of a Popeye fan anymore, but growing up, I was really into him. I just really liked Popeye. It's because of him that I eat spinach pretty much. I'm more of a spinach guy over a lettuce guy. Whenever I eat salad, I'm just eating spinach, okay? And I think I've got Popeye to thank for that. So I was really excited when I heard that Genndy Tartakovsky was going to be making a Popeye movie. And then, sadly, it got canceled for whatever reason. I'm not really for sure why it got canceled. And I'm not even sure if anybody knows why it got canceled. I know there was a rumor going around that it was canceled in favor of the Emoji Movie. But I think that was debunked, and it was pretty much an odd coincidence that Popeye was canceled and the Emoji Movie was greenlit around the same time, because that was true. When Popeye was canceled around the same time, the Emoji Movie was announced to be in production, which was in 2016 before it was released in 2017. Movie of the year right there, am I right? So, yeah, there is that rumor and theory that is kind of floating around the internet for quite a while, whether Sony chose the Emoji Movie over Popeye, and as far as I know, that's not true. As far as my knowledge takes me, it could be true, it might not be true, but I don't know. I don't like to play. I don't like to think negatively about that because I think a lot of people would have preferred the Popeye movie over the Emoji Movie. And while I don't like the Emoji Movie whatsoever, I still try to pay my respects to the people who worked on it and who worked on its animation, script, and got it released and got it completely made. So yeah, I just try to show my respect for that, even if I don't like the movie. But even then, I probably would have preferred the Popeye movie, if that is true. But I personally don't think it is true, but who knows. Anyway, so if you're probably wondering, well, Geekopedia, if this movie was canceled, how the heck did you watch it? Well, apparently it was either last year or the year before, a full animatic, or however you pronounce that, like a full animation storyboard of the film was leaked online, and it was like the full film, not including the end credits. So not including the end credits, the film ran for an hour and like 30 minutes around that time. Maybe a little bit less, but around there. It was completely leaked online with voice acting and everything. Like Tom Kenny, the guy who plays SpongeBob, was the voice of Popeye. And Grey DeLisle, who voices Daphne on Scooby-Doo, was Olive Oyl. Those were the only two actors who I think ever got credited for it, but there are definitely other characters or other cast members that were hired to record the voices for these characters before it was canceled, like probably my favorite performance in the movie is honestly Bluto. Which is funny because I was never really a huge fan of Bluto when I used to watch all the Popeye cartoons. I always loved Popeye, and I just never really liked Bluto, but he's my favorite performance in this movie. Whoever voiced him in this film, because he wasn't credited, we don't know who the actor was, but whoever did, you did a bang-up job. Like, good job. You're my favorite part of the movie. But that doesn't go against, like, Tom Kenny or Grey DeLisle, because they're amazing as well. Tom Kenny was perfect as Popeye. Like, he emulates... At first, Tom Kenny's voice as Popeye kind of sounded a little too much like SpongeBob. Well, not necessarily SpongeBob, but you know, like in this SpongeBob show where Tom Kenny also plays Patchy the Pirate, and he gives himself that weird pirate accent. At first, Popeye kind of sounds like Tom Kenny doing his Patchy the Pirate accent and voice. So I was kind of nervous at first, but not very long after, as the film really gets going, it kind of fades away, and Tom Kenny really does become Popeye. So I really liked what he did there. Grey DeLisle as Olive Oyl, man, she was really good in this movie. I always felt like Olive Oyl in the more traditional, like the original Popeye cartoons, kind of had a somewhat annoying voice, in a sense. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but I never really liked her more higher-pitched voice. Whereas here, Grey DeLisle, she kind of does a mixture of both. Like, it's her own unique interpretation of how Olive Oyl sounds, but it's also emulating the classic Olive Oyl voice. So it was like a nice little middle ground between the two that I really like. So, as far as story, this film follows Popeye. He is going on a quest to find his father, who I think his name was Pappy in the old cartoons, and I think even in the comics, because this was based on like a comic, sort of like how the Peanuts were based on a comic as well, and also with Garfield. Popeye was kind of in the same boat there, I believe. So Popeye, he's looking for his father, who they got separated when Popeye was just a baby, and he's going up against this old sea hag or witch hag. That's all they call her. She's like this elderly witch who has this jewel that keeps her young and keeps her youthful and gives her powers. And Pappy, Popeye's dad, before he sends Popeye away to save him, he steals the jewel to help depower her so she wouldn't go after Popeye as quickly. And it's explained that that jewel is what gives Popeye his powers to gain super strength whenever he eats spinach. So that's how that's explained in this movie. So, yeah, then he goes to... He finds himself in Sea Haven. Bluto is his adopted brother in this. And he builds a boat with Jeep, like the magical cat dog thing. I'm going to be honest with you. That was kind of something in the original Popeye lore that I was kind of not sure about. Because other than the part where he gets strong eating spinach, Popeye, I always kind of felt was somewhat grounded. And then you have this magical yellow animal that I don't really know what the thing is. And this movie honestly didn't do much to help clarify anything about Jeep. So if you want an explanation of what Jeep is at all, then you might walk away from this disappointed, because the film doesn't really dive too much into Jeep's backstory. It mostly focuses on Popeye setting up his relationship with his dad, and establishing his relationship with Olive Oyl, which, speaking of Olive Oyl, her goal is, she lives a sheltered life in this film, and all she wants to do is get out into the world and explore and go on grand adventures. And she's accidentally kidnapped by Popeye. Well, not necessarily an accident, but he doesn't intend to kidnap her. It was more like like a thing in the moment where he has to think, because she has the jewel, the witch's jewel, because Bluto stole it from Popeye, because Bluto wanted to use it to propose to Olive Oyl, because Olive Oyl's parents were pressuring him about getting her, like, a super expensive ring for when he proposes to her, and, of course, Bluto, he doesn't have much money, so he resorts to stealing the jewel from Popeye, not really knowing what it really is. And to be honest, I thought Bluto was going to be the main antagonist in this film, but he really isn't. The old witch is the main antagonist, and Bluto, he's not in it a whole lot, which is weird, because Bluto was always the, like, main bad guy of the Popeye franchise, so I figured, well, Popeye movie, Bluto's gonna be the villain. It just kind of makes sense, but yeah, he wasn't in it that much, and they kind of took away a little bit of his, like, roughness, toughness. Like, it's still there, but they kind of portray him more of, like, a coward, which I would have been okay with if maybe they had developed him a little bit more. I wish Bluto had gotten a little bit more time in the film to maybe understand him a little better, to instead of just doing the stereotypical, oh, he looks tough but he's not, you know. So yeah, that's what I thought. This movie, of course, since it was never complete, it's not fully animated. It's literally a storyboarded film with the voice acting. The only thing that's really complete is Tom Kenny as Popeye and Grey DeLisle as Olive Oyl. Those are literally the only parts that are complete. Their voices are. Everybody else, you can tell that they were stand-in, like the witch. She was supposed to sound like an old woman, but in this, like, draft that I call it, it's clear she's played by a mid-40s guy. Trying his absolute best to do his best old lady accent. So, and I honestly think that was just to work on animation while they find a proper casting for her, and they just never got to. So that's just how that went. What else is there? This movie was really good. I'm really sad it got canceled. I wish it didn't get canceled. Oh, I will forget. There is definitely one nitpick that I did not like. Popeye never says his traditional, signature line, "I'm Popeye the Sailor Man," you know that. He never says that in the movie. And I was waiting for it, and I'm like, you know what, I bet it's going to be the last line of the movie. Like, Popeye's going to break the fourth wall, look right at the camera, and he's going to say it, like the traditional Popeye, theme line. But he never does, and that kind of shocked me a little bit. Like, it didn't ruin it for me, it just kind of felt weird that they didn't include that. Especially since that's kind of synonymous with Popeye. But, I don't know, that's just me. But yeah, how would I rank this movie? I'm not going to judge it by animation just because it's kind of unfair, because it wasn't completed, so I feel like it's just kind of unfair to judge it based on its animation. Through the storyboards, there are a lot of scenes where I wish it was fully animated, because I can tell it was going to be amazing. Like, there's a scene where the witch is impersonating Popeye's dad, and tricks Popeye into giving her the jewel, and she puts it in his eye, in her eye socket, because that's where she usually has it, and we get this full-on transformation scene where she morphs from Popeye's dad to the witch, and there's, like, lightning bolts everywhere. There's even a little bit of colors that are applied to it as well. I'm just sitting there thinking, man, that would have looked so great if that was fully animated. I wish at least that part was animated in some way, because that would have been beautiful. And knowing Genndy Tartakovsky, he would have gone above and beyond to make that amazing. So yeah. How would I rank this movie? I gotta say, 8.1 out of 10. It's a really good movie, especially when it's just an animated storyboard, not a complete film. You can tell it was still it's probably around in the middle of development. Like, Tom Kenny's Popeye and Grey DeLisle's Olive Oyl, their lines seem to be about done. The only thing they would probably have to do is, like, sync it with the animation and the background music and maybe have them come back in and re-record a few things. But other than that, they were about the only parts that were done in the film. Everything else was very rough and needed to be polished a lot better. But of course, since this is a canceled movie, it never got that finished treatment, which is sad. I really wish this movie was finished. I really wished Sony would have let Genndy make this movie and just completely finish it out. I think it would have been really good. It's already good, even when it's, like, completely unfinished. It's still pretty good. Like, that's just how... That's kind of how sad it is. Like, even in how it is right now, it's in the roughest of rough drafts you can get for an animated movie. And it's still good. Like, and I still found it watchable, even though the animation wasn't good in this version. So I really wish that Genndy could have gotten a chance to finish it, because it would have been 10 times better. I'm fairly certain that if this was a finished movie, I probably would have ranked it 10 out of 10. I'm going to be honest with you. I would have ranked it 10 out of 10 if it was finished. So, who knows? I'm an optimist. Maybe one day it'll get revived and finished. If there is another Popeye movie that ever happens, whether or not they let Genndy work on it, it probably won't be this version. They'll probably just have him, like, rewrite the movie or something like that, or get somebody else to do it. But I would much rather them just give Genndy a couple $1 million and let him finish this film, because this would have been a masterpiece. Just think, this would have been Sony's Spider-Verse before Spider-Verse. That's how good I think this would have been. But anyway, those are my thoughts on that. This was a little treat. I found it. I've been trying to look for it for a while, but I was finally able to find it. I downloaded it on my Google Drive, so Sony, please don't kill me. Please don't send your assassins after me, Sony. I know you've been trying to take it off the internet, but there are some people who still got it. So, please don't kill me. I'm a movie nerd, okay? Okay, I just wanted a Popeye movie. You don't have to shoot me, please. So, with that said, this has been Geekopedia. Remember, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell. Remember, God loves you and I love you too. And I'll see you guys next time. Because it's Geekopedia, the Sailor Man. I don't do it as good as Popeye.